The commercial property marketplace is in turmoil right now. Prices are falling, and that means there is an abundance of opportunity for the savvy property entrepreneur who knows what they're doing. And that's what I'm going to cover off in this video. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. If you're new to this channel, we put out plenty of videos every single week. So, untold opportunity. I mean, I talk a lot about commercial to residential conversion, but there's also commercial property repurposing, and there's also commercial property buy to let. Now, the reason the commercial property market is in absolute turmoil is that interest rates have gone up. And commercial property is valued based on a yield basis. And the thing is, as interest rates go up, the yield expectation that investors have on commercial property goes up as well. And that means that the values fall. And when you throw into the mix the fact that there are too many shops on a high street, banks are all closing down, betting shops are practically all closing down, there's too much office space thanks to work from home and all of that, that means that there is an oversupply of commercial property, which is completely different from residential property, where you always hear about the housing crisis. There's not enough houses being built, there's not enough houses to rent, but that is certainly not the case in commercial property. Now, in a moment, I'm going to share with you how we are taking this shop here and literally doubling the rental value of that shop to match the rent achieved on this shop next door. That's all coming up, but first let me tell you about Baker Street Property Meet, which is Tuesday 28th of May. We're doing a special commercial property extravaganza, and where we're going to be highlighting to you and sharing with you the opportunities that are abound for savvy entrepreneurs to profit from commercial real estate. We're joined by none other than Will Clough. Will Clough is a partner and auctioneer at Allsop Commercial Auctioneers. Now, Allsops, as you probably know, are the UK's largest commercial property auctioneers, and what they don't know, quite frankly, isn't worth knowing. Everyone knows that monitoring what happens in the auction room is very, very important for observing trends and predicting trends. What happens in the auction room is very much a leading indicator of market sentiment. With so much turmoil in the commercial property market space, it's an absolute honour for us to host Will Clough of Allsop Commercial Auctioneers, who is going to lay down his in the trenches view of what's happening in the commercial market. Who's selling, why they're selling, and who's buying, and what they're buying those properties for. It's going to be a talk that you really want to have your notepads and pens at the ready for, because you're going to learn several different tips and insights that will help you go further in commercial property investing. Now, I've done plenty of videos on this channel about commercial to residential conversions. Commercial to residential conversions is a fantastic strategy because you literally take commercial space, which is valued at very little per square foot, and convert it into residential space, which is often valued at 3 or 4 times the amount per square foot as commercial space. So that's why it's worth converting. But really what you're doing is you're looking at the whole building, a whole commercial building, and saying, well, what is the most valuable use for each square foot of space? Now, sometimes it's residential, sometimes it's keeping it commercial, but repurposing it to get a better commercial return. This building here, for example, is a typical shops and uppers. It's a no-brainer. The upper parts used to be offices and commercial use. It's a no-brainer that those revert to residential use. So let me take you inside this building and we'll explain what we're doing and how we're optimizing values. So with this building, of course, it's a no-brainer that the upper parts, it used to be offices and that kind of stuff, commercial usage. That's going to be 2 flats. But the downstairs, this is a busy parade of shops in a reasonably prosperous area. All the shops are let out, and this makes sense to keep as a shop. Now, what we noticed here was the shop next door was renting for double the rent that this shop was renting for. And one of the reasons for that is because what I'm standing in here now was the staircase. The staircase, this is a massively wide staircase that led to the upper parts. Now, that is nonsense, because this is valuable commercial space. This is valuable commercial real estate. Why have so much space at the front of a shop which goes to the upper parts. What we're doing is relocating this staircase at the back and reverting this front space into commercial shop space. Now, just doing that and a simple shell and core fit out gives us the same spec and same characteristics as the shop next door, and gives us double rental value from what it was currently achieving. So why does it double the value? Well, if you double the rent, you do double the value, because commercial property is valued not on a bricks and mortar basis, it's valued on the rental income that it generates. So my rule of thumb is, if I can massively increase the rental income I can get per square foot on a piece of commercial real estate, then why not keep it commercial? It makes sense, because commercial tenancies are easier to manage than residential tenancies. ASTs are governed by all sorts of regulation and all of that. Commercial tenancies are pretty much governed by a Rent Act which came out in 1954. And commercial tenancies are business contracts. So it makes sense to have commercial space, particularly when you are increasing the commercial rental value and therefore increasing the capital value. Most of the times when we're converting space to residential use, it's because there is no commercial occupier looking for that space. So the value is exceptionally low. And the only way of getting an uplift in value is by residential conversion. So at Baker Street Property Meet, Tuesday 28th of May, commercial property extravaganza. We got Will Clough from Commercial Property Auctioneers, Allsop, to talk about the market, the trends, who's buying, why they're buying, what they're doing with it. I'm going to be sharing with you some key strategies that savvy investors are focusing on. Commercial to commercial repurposing, which I've given you a little example of here today, where you're taking commercial real estate, repurposing it, keeping it commercial, but to optimize that value. We'll talk a little bit about commercial to residential conversion and how that's so simplified now thanks to permitted development rights, and there are a whole load of permitted development rights coming out this year later on, and I'll give you a whistle-stop tour of those. And also why it's a good idea to do commercial property buy-to-let. Will Clough will also share with some examples of how at his auctions, there are commercial buy-to-let opportunities which are going for yields of upwards of 10%. Now that's a good deal. It's quite difficult to get residential rental yields upwards of 10%. And in my talk, I'll also be talking a little bit about how you can use your pension, your SAS or SIP, to invest in commercial buy-to-let properties, and why that's something that you need to be doing. And of course, we'll have the legendary Andrew Roberts giving his market update. He gives his market update each and every month, and that is going to be focusing on the commercial property market and the trends as he sees them play out over the next year or two. So you're going to have everything you need to further your journey into the wonderful world of commercial real estate. Of course, we are the UK's largest property investors networking meet. We have 300 property investors join us each month for unparalleled networking. That's all in central London at our venue near Regent's Park. See you guys there. You can get your tickets at bakerstreetpropertymeet.com. There's a link in the description below as well. And see you guys there, and see you guys in the next video.